It's meant to be age-appropriate stuff, isn't it? Sort of all about, effectively, two mummies, two daddies, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's about children understanding that we're all different, but we can all get along.
So all we're talking about, basically, is teaching children that LGBT people exist.
That's exactly it.
And nothing else.
Just explain to me one storybook, if you like, that talks about same-sex couples and how that storybook is age-appropriate.
Well, the first one we have used in the past is Mama, Mummy and Me.
Mummy, Mama and Me. It's just about another family.
Mummy, Mama and Me.
So let's have let's have an example.
This is one of the books that is causing some controversy about, you know, about being too young. So
Mummy, Mama and Me.
Mummy, Mama and Me.
Every year at the same time, the girl penguins start to notice the boy penguins, and the boy penguins start noticing the girls. When the right girl and the right boy find each other, they become a couple. Two penguins in the penguin house were a little bit different. One was named Roy, and the other was named Silo. Roy and Silo were both boys, but they did everything together. They bowed to each other and walked together. They sang to each other and swam together. Wherever Roy went, Silo went too. They didn't spend much time with the girl penguins, and the girl penguins didn't spend much time with them. Instead, Roy and Silo wound their necks around each other. Their keeper, Mr. Gramsey, noticed the two penguins and thought to himself, "They must be in love." Roy and Silo watched how the other penguins made a home, so they built a nest of stones for themselves. Every night, Roy and Silo slept there together, just like the other penguin couples.
Dads were crazy in love, so we gave them an egg. They kept it warm as a glove. I'm a little penguin, I'm a little penguin, I'm a little penguin. Swimming penguins, penguins in a zoo. Loving each other, just like me and you. And they're happy.
Had ruled for many years, and she was tired of it. She made up her mind that the prince would marry and become king before the end of the summer. "Wake up," called the queen. "We're going to have a little talk, you and I. I've had enough. You're getting married, and that's all there is to it." The prince pushed away his breakfast. He couldn't eat a bite as the queen talked on and on and on. "I don't understand you. Every prince in these parts is married. Every one of them but you. When I was your age, I'd been married twice already." By the evening, all the talking had made the prince dizzy. "Very well, mother. I'll marry. I must say, though, I've never cared much for princesses. To your future happiness." That night, the queen found her list of princesses and called every castle, Elcars and Plazos, near and far. The very next morning, a crowd waited at the gates. Princess Ari from Australia. The queen and the prince looked at one another sadly. None of this was quite what they had expected. "Wait," called the page, "there is one more princess." Presenting Princess Madeline and her brother Prince Lee. At last, the prince felt a stir in his heart. It was love at first sight. What a wonderful prince! What a wonderful prince! The wedding was very special. The queen even shed a tear or two. The two princes are known as the king and king. The queen finally had some time for herself, and everyone lived happily ever after.
King and king, a royal celebration. King and king, let's sing our congratulations. Mother, my heart just skipped a beat. That prince just knocked me off my feet. Now you'll have some time alone. I found a king to share my throne. You're in love? Yes, mother. With the prince? Yes, mother. Oh, how wonderful! Yes, mother. I'll order a new crown then. King and king, a royal celebration. King and king, let's sing our congratulations. Let the fanfare ring out loud and make everybody feel proud. See the kings walk hand in hand, spreading joy throughout the land.
Some parents feel that you have to take into account their religion, their viewpoint. What would you say to that argument?
We have great respect to Islam.
See, I'm never going to say that a faith is wrong or a faith is right. I'm not going to take on thousands of years of religious doctrine.
Teaching children that LGBT people exist.
That's exactly it.
And nothing else.
Prince Henry. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, lived a young prince called Henry. He lived in a big castle with his parents, who were the king and queen. Henry loved being a prince. It was awesome. He got to do a lot of cool, exciting things like riding fire-breathing dragons and rescuing lots of woodland animals. He even got to attend lots of royal parties, but Henry always found it more fun to sneak out of them. Henry didn't know many people, but the people he did know he cared for very much. One of these people was his faithful servant Thomas. Thomas had been the prince's servant a long time, and they had become very good friends. They did everything together. They shared the same interests, and Thomas was always there to help Prince Henry with his royal duties, or at least help him to get out of them. Thomas did not own much, nor did he have a lot of money, but Henry cared for Thomas so much that he would often share his wealth with him and surprise him with ridiculously cool gifts. Now Henry's father and mother believed the time had come for Henry to marry. They were very keen to find someone special for their only son to spend his life with. So the king sent out secret invitations to all the royal princes and princesses in the land, inviting them to the kingdom, so that Henry could choose one of them to marry. A few days later, Henry was awoken by a huge buzz of noise beneath his bedroom window. He sleepily climbed out of bed and opened the curtains. Wow! Prince Henry could hardly believe his eyes. princes and princesses, hundreds of them. It was quite an impressive sight. Henry couldn't get ready quick enough. He had to know why they were all here. Thomas helped the prince get ready. Henry thanked him and then dashed outside. Hello everyone. Welcome to our kingdom, said Henry to the excited crowd. I hope you don't mind me asking, but what are you all doing here? The crowd all looked very puzzled, and then came one voice. It was Henry's father. They are here, my son, so that you can choose one of them to marry and spend your life with. I invited them here for you. Henry paused and thought for a moment. He realised that his father was trying to do something nice for him. So he replied, "Thank you, father. That was very thoughtful of you. I'm sure these are all lovely people, but I already know who I want to spend my life with." "You do? How wonderful!" said the king. "Yes," said Henry. "I wish to marry Thomas." "What?" said the king. Thomas started to turn red. He had liked Henry for a very long time, but did not realise that the prince felt the same way. The king started to turn red too, but for a very different reason. He was angry. "But you can't marry Thomas," he cried. "He is your servant. That is against our law and our tradition." "I'm sorry, father. I love you very much, but I must be allowed to marry the person of my choice. If I cannot, then I do not want to be a prince any longer. I want to spend my life with someone whom I love, and who I know will make me very happy. That is, if he wants to spend his life with me." At this point, Thomas didn't think his cheeks could get any redder, but they did. The king's anger quickly faded after hearing his son speak, and he started to cry. Henry's speech had made him very proud. "My dear boy, please forgive me. No one has ever taught me this before, and I can now see how much you love Thomas. All I really want is for you to be happy. After all, that is what is important." The king then hugged his son, and his son hugged him back. And with that, the king ripped the royal law into 100 pieces and threw them into the sky. The crowd of princes and princesses cheered, and everyone was very happy. "So," said Henry, returning his crown to his head, "what do you say, Thomas?" And Henry took him by the hand. "Will you marry me?" Some years later, on a day that was good, a small crowd did gather in a space in the wood. They watched a young couple celebrate their love. By wedding each other, they'd put it off long enough. One was a prince and the other was not, but which one was which, it was soon forgot. For they were so in love, their tale needed no sequel. Once thought of as different, but their love was always equal.
You know, we're not talking about sex here. It's nothing to do with what goes on in a bedroom.
It doesn't in any way discuss sexual activity. Why would you with a child so young?
Every night, Bailey dreamed about dresses. A long staircase led to a red Valentine castle. On each stair was a brand new dress just waiting to be tried on. 10,000 dresses in all, and each one different. When Bailey woke up, she went to find her mother. Mother was in the kitchen cutting up coupons. "Mom, I dreamt about a dress," said Bailey. "Uh-huh," said her mother. "A dress made of crystals that flashed rainbows in the sun." "Uh-huh. And I was wondering if you would buy me a dress like that." "Bailey, what are you talking about? You're a boy. Boys don't wear dresses." "But I don't feel like a boy," Bailey said. "Well, you are one, Bailey. That's that. Now go away and don't mention dresses again." Bailey went to her room. Now she would never have a dress made of crystals that flashed rainbows in the sun. "Dad, I dreamt about a dress," Bailey said. "Uh-huh," said her father. "A dress made out of lilies and roses with honeysuckle sleeves." "Uh-huh. And I was wondering if you could grow me a dress like that." "Bailey, what are you talking about? You're a boy. Boys don't wear dresses." "But I don't feel like a boy," she said. "Well, you are one, Bailey, and that's that. Now go away and don't mention dresses again." Bailey went to her room. Now she would never have a dress made of lilies and roses with honeysuckle sleeves. "You dream about dresses, Bailey? That's gross. You're a boy." "But," Bailey said, "but nothing. Get out of here before I kick you." Bailey ran and ran. She ran all the way to the end of the block until she came to a house with a big red porch. An older girl was sitting there with needles and thread and old sheets. "What are you doing?" Bailey asked. "Making dresses," said the big girl. "But it's really hard. Mine all come out looking the same." "Maybe I can help," said Bailey. Bailey told Laurel, the big girl, about the dress made out of windows, which showed the Great Wall of China and the pyramids. "That's awesome," said Laurel. "But how do we make a dress out of windows?" "We'll use old mirrors instead," said Bailey. Together the girls made 2 new dresses, which were covered with mirrors of all shapes and sizes. "These dresses don't show us the Great Wall of China or the pyramids," said Laurel. "No," said Bailey, "but they do show us ourselves." "You're the coolest girl I've ever met, Bailey," said Laurel. "Hey, do you think we can dream up any more dresses?" Bailey grinned. "I think I can dream up 10,000.
Hi, I'm Leo, and I want to do this documentary to show that my life isn't that different to yours.
but there's something about me that means I haven't always been accepted as Leo.
In most ways, I'm like an average 13-year-old boy, apart from I was born in a girl's body. Gender to me is what you feel inside, not what you were born with, like what you are on the outside. It's what you are on the inside.
Our bodies are full of chemicals called hormones. There are some hormones for boys and other hormones for girls. Most people's hormones, brains and bodies all match, so they know they are definitely a girl or a boy. But some people feel they've been born in the wrong body. It's not very common, but I now know there are thousands of people in the UK who are just like me, and we are called transgender. After I told my mum I was really a boy, I then talked to a lot of doctors who helped me. One thing that used to scare me was knowing my body would soon change into a woman's, even though I wanted to grow up to be a man. My doctors understand what I'm going through, so we all decided I should be given a monthly injection to stop my body changing into a woman's. The injection is called a hormone blocker, and if you stop taking it, your hormones start working again, just like before. Dr. Polly knows all about it.
The blocker is an injection that someone has every month which pauses the body and stops it from carrying on to grow up into a man or a woman. And the idea of the blocker is that if we can take away that worry about your body doing something that you don't want it to, then it gives you and us more time and space to be really thinking about what's going to be best for you now, but also in the future. And the good thing about it is that if you stop the injections, it's like pressing a start button, and the body just carries on developing as it would if you hadn't have taken the injection.
I'm Sally Savage. Today I'm at Parsons Street Primary School. Hi! Hello everybody! So today I read three books. One was Princess Smarty Pants Breaks the Rules, another was 10,000 Dresses, and then I also read one of my old poetry books from my childhood called A Spot on My Bum. Every night Bailey dreams about dresses. A long staircase leading to the Red Valentine Castle. On each stair was a brand new dress waiting to be tried on. 10,000 dresses in all, and each one different. Today went really well. All the kids got really involved, really enjoyed it. They were singing and dancing, they stood up, so I'm happy, really happy with it. So I just remember like when I was in school and seeing people perform for us, so it just kind of thinking like that made me put more effort in, just because I want to be a good role model. I want to know why I think it's alright to wear a dress. Because dresses are made for people's bodies. They're not designed for boys or for girls. They're just an item of clothing. If you want to wear an item of clothing and it makes you happy, please do it.
The sessions have also opened up some discussions around gender identity and sexual orientation. The children came out absolutely buzzing about the sessions. They said that they were really fun, really exciting and really engaging.
I'm Fox Fisher and I'm one half of the new children's book, Are You a Boy or Are You a Girl?
This book allows parents and children to begin to break down the barriers of gender roles and gender stereotypes.
Are you a boy or a girl? Come on and give us a twirl, 'cause all that matters is having fun.
And to discuss what being a male or a female means to them.
Are You a Boy or Are You a Girl, despite the binary title, actually looks at issues about gender, and you don't actually discover what gender the main character Tiny actually is, which is a great introductory way of talking about doesn't matter actually if someone is a boy or a girl, or doesn't even define as a boy or a girl.
Dressing up is Tiny and Fiona's favourite thing to do.
Me and my sister Fiona love to pretend we're pirates or sheriffs.
Tiny, are you a boy or a girl?
I am me.
I just wonder how many people it affects.
I just think that non-binary issues aren't going to go away, so it's either you get on board.
How many people are we, in terms of a
We
proportion
don't know,
of the population?
that's the thing. You know, a lot of people, you know, what does non-binary look like? We're here to kind of show you that.
It's happening now all over Britain.
But
schools are very, very fast moving with a lot of kids now wanting to be non-binary.
Please,
I am
less
concerned about
fear-mongering.
it.
Please stop fear-mongering,
I think
because
it's
it doesn't help.
Yeah, but my problem is that actually it's a massive new fad, and we're going to end up with half the kids.
You'll soon realise it's not a fad, Piers.
Well, no, I think for a lot of people it is, though. You're not telling me that 8 kids in 1 year at one girls' school in this country suddenly woke up and said, we feel non-binary.
The younger generation
They've heard you
cares
guys
much
talking
less.
about being...
Younger generation
They've heard you
cares
guys
much
talking
less.
about being non-binary. I think it's cool.
It's not about being cool,
not
it's
being
about an
cool.
inner sense of self and an identity
You
that
think
you
8
identify
girls in 1 year at a girls' school,
8
just
non-binary
in
people
1
in
month,
one
all
school.
suddenly... Just...
Explain rapid onset gender dysphoria, because I'm not really aware of that.
So it's this phenomenon that's been growing more recently.
How recently?
I'd probably say in the last 10 years. There's been a switch. So before, referrals to gender clinics of kids who are feeling that they were born the opposite sex was predominantly boys, and then suddenly there's been this explosion of girls. And so when you talk to the parents, their stories are so similar. They're literally identical. Their daughters have always been gender typical, so they're always very girly girls. They've never been gender dysphoric. And then usually what happens is there's some sort of, I don't know, educational session at school, or one of these girls, their friends, come out as trans, and then the daughter says, oh, I want to be a boy. And so you have these girls, a lot of them have autism or they have other mental health issues. They're not getting treated for those issues. Instead, they're being told, okay, if you want to transition, we'll help you.
Is this typically females?
Yeah, almost all females.
What is the cause of that?
I think it's social contagion. I think part of it is for some of these girls, they are a bit socially awkward, and so when they come out as transgender, suddenly everybody loves them and wants to support them. Kids are coming out as transgender just because it gives them acceptance.
An extra reward.
Yeah.
There's a reward in terms of the attention they get.
Yeah. Girls especially, it's very much about being influenced by friends within a peer group. I think there's some crazy high number in terms of the number of girls that will come out as transgender one after the other.
We should be very, very careful what we plant in the minds of young innocent children.
I mean, you resigned from a previous job, didn't you, over similar issues with your programme?
Yes, I did, and what I did, I learned from that situation, and I rewrote my resources, and I rewrote it as no outsiders to include all equalities, not just LGBT.
These are the books that are causing such outrage.
It's meant to be age-appropriate stuff, isn't it? Sort of all about, effectively, two mummies, two daddies, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And Ofsted have also looked at the No Outsiders programme, and they've concluded that it's age-appropriate.
It's making sure they know just enough to know that some people prefer not to get married to somebody of the opposite sex, and that sometimes there are families that have two mummies or two daddies.
I've looked at the curriculum. There is nothing in the curriculum that's LGBT specific. My attention was drawn to two books, that's all. One involving two male penguins and an egg. The other was about a book was about a boy who chooses to dress up as a princess. That's it, nothing else.